Hey, Canucks fans, we are 1 day away from the start of the Canucks regular season. They host the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow night at Rogers Arena, and there's no shortage of intrigue with this team, especially when it comes to the roster. We have a winger potentially getting traded. We have not enough healthy bodies to ice a full roster, so let's get into all of it right now. Conor Garland, his name has been kind of bandied around in trade talks. We never knew how serious, but Elliotte Friedman this morning tweeted this out. There is word this afternoon, that Vancouver has granted Conor Garland permission to talk to other teams about a potential trade, tight cap situation, see if there's a better fit around the NHL. Now, we know that Conor Garland, both Elliotte Friedman and Rick Dhaliwal, they reported that Conor Garland just switched agents. So it sounds like the Canucks, with this switch in agency, have given Garland and his agent permission to seek a trade, to see what kind of interest there is from other teams. Remember that Conor Garland was traded to the Vancouver Canucks in that big trade with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And we know that they gave up the expiring contracts of Eriksson, Sutter, and Beagle. Sorry, Eriksson, Roussel, and Beagle. And then, and of course, Dylan Guenther, the 9th overall pick that year. So not the best trade in hindsight, but Garland came here on July 23rd as part of that big trade. And then prior to the start of that season that was coming up, he signed a big 5-year contract, just under $25 million, $24.75 million. And that means average annual value and cap hit of $4.95 million. So 2 years of that is gone, but 3 years is still there. Basically about 50 million in cap hit, $17 million in actual cash. So it's going to be hard to move. And that's why the Canucks, even if they tried to move him in the offseason, probably couldn't without either retaining salary or attaching sweeteners. But with the Canucks roster the way it is, maybe with their concerns on defense or simply to get a bit more breathing room around the cap, it looks like they are indeed trying to move Conor Garland once again. Garland has been disappointing since he's come to Vancouver. In Arizona, he never lit it up. The last season he had before coming here, he had 39 points in 49 games. So almost just under a 0.8 points per game pace. Again, 39 points in 49 games. Then in 2 seasons here, he's been relatively healthy. He played 77 games in 21-22, and he had 52 points. So not bad. And then he last year he played in 81 games, only missed one, and he dropped down to 46 points. So 52 and 46 points in his last 2 full seasons. That's not bad. That's kind of low second line scoring potential. And that's probably where Garland is best suited. He's not a top line guy. It's funny, now that I think about it, maybe they were playing him with PD and Kuzmenko last game to kind of showcase him a little bit. I'm not sure, or maybe that was just a weird timing thing. But yeah, so his production has been okay. It hasn't been bad, 52 and 46. So he's over half a point per game. Not bad production at all. But I think for the money that he's making, for the money that Besser's making, for the money that Beauvillier is making, you simply have a lot of money tied up in wingers who are all right now second line wingers. The only, I'd say, bona fide first line winger we have on this team right now is Andrei Kuzmenko, when you consider that PD and Miller are centers. So that's why, because of the salary cap hit, because the Canucks are so tight to the cap, and because maybe they have guys like Kuzmenko and Besser and Beauvillier who can do similar things, that's why the Canucks are looking to trade Conor Garland. So we will track this story as it goes, but it was certainly the biggest story making news from the Canucks this morning. Also making news was the fact that they only had 11 forwards and 5 defensemen on the ice. So if that holds true for tomorrow, they are going to have to use emergency recall. You can use emergency recall anytime you have fewer than 12 forwards or 6 defensemen. And right now the Canucks only had 11 and 5. So this morning at practice, according to Daniel Wagner, Pastor Tabulis, it was Pettersson, Kuzmenko, and Garland on that top line. It was Miller, Besser, and Phil DiGiuseppe on the second line. So I think our top 6 is set as of now, as long as Garland doesn't get traded before tomorrow. And then your third line, you had, I would say that your third line was Pius Suter between Beauvillier and Joshua. And I think that's the line that played on Friday night against Calgary. And then your fourth line, you had incoming Sam Lafferty in his new number 18 jersey with Niels Höglander and Ilya Mikheyev. Now, Ilya Mikheyev's interesting. because Patrick Allvin made a comment that he thinks Mikheyev wants to play tomorrow, but they don't want to rush him back. Remember, there's all this talk of whether or not he's going to be ready for the start of the season. A lot of people saying the Canucks bungled their surgery, but it sounds like Mikheyev's almost ready to go, whether it's tomorrow or maybe as early as Saturday against the Oilers. I'm sure doctors, Mikheyev, the Canucks, the management, coaches, they're all going to figure it out over the next little bit. But yeah, that fourth line was Lafferty between Höglander and Mikheyev. So who's missing? Teddy Bluger. We don't know if it's the flu or if he's still nursing an injury after getting tied up in the Calgary game. So I think that was and I talked about this in my vlog, that's a major motivation why they went out and got Lafferty. He can play in center, even though he hasn't played a lot of it recently, and he's a right-handed shot. So now you have a right-handed center, and I said this, maybe that the Bluger injury is a little more worrisome than they thought, so that's why they made the trade for Lafferty. But if Mikheyev's not ready for tomorrow, and Podkolzin was on the roster, but as we talked about, that was more of a paper transaction. The Canucks need one more forward. Let's presume Mikheyev's not playing tomorrow, so maybe it will be Podkolzin, or maybe they call up Neil Zaman. So I think it's going to be either Podkolzin or Neil Zaman if Mikheyev cannot slot in tomorrow night. Then on defense, only 5 healthy defensemen. It was Hughes, Hronek, Myers, Juleson, and Cole. So we think it's going to be Hughes and Hronek. We think it's going to be Cole and Myers. And then there's Juleson. And Juleson was supposed to play with Brisebois, but I think Brisebois is still either he has the flu or he's banged up, because Patrick Allvin even said the flu is going through the room. So it's either going to be Brisebois if he's better tomorrow, or you call up Hirose to play on the left side of Juleson's right. So that's another thing that they could do. Or maybe they call up McCord to play with, which I don't. Or maybe you put Juleson with Hughes. Doesn't matter. You're going to need a left shot defenseman if Brisebois is not ready to go. So look for the Canucks to make a couple of roster moves before tomorrow night's game. They're going to need a forward if Mikheyev can't play. And even if he can play, if Bluger's not ready, you want an extra forward to have on the roster. And then you also need at least one, if not 2 more defensemen on this roster. So look for, like I said, 2 or 3 roster moves between today and tomorrow, and we will go from there. So lots to digest. No Bluger, no Podkolzin, no Brisebois, no I guess I should mention Carson Soucy. We'll see. I'm not sure if he's going to be ready to play tomorrow, but it sounds like the injury isn't as bad as they first feared, and that is a good thing for this Vancouver Canucks team that needs off to get to a very good start. Let me know your thoughts on these developments. Let me know your thoughts on the Conor Garland trade rumors in the comments below. Shout out to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate and Perform and Transform Personal Training Weight Loss. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Carol Bovelander, legendary Andrew Chang, and Hall of Fame and franchise members as well. And thanks to all of you for watching, for liking, and subscribing. So on your way out, subscribe, like the video, leave a donation, become a member, upgrade your membership, and of course, leave a comment down below your thoughts on everything as we have one more sleep until the Canucks kick off their season tomorrow night. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And don't forget my regular nightly show, 11 p.m. right here on YouTube, my live stream. Hope you can join me and we'll talk about this even more. God bless and go Canucks go.